my title for this: Deal Gone South in North Carolina. What do you think about that?
It's pretty good.
It's not so bad.
I read it yesterday and I was like, yeah, that's pretty.
It's not bad.
Nice. Yeah.
Dave knows the details. Dave knows all the stuff. I'm the headline guy. I read all the headlines. But yeah, so we had a deal, for lack of a better term, that went a little south in North Carolina. We were brought on kind of late into the deal, and what we really loved about the deal to start is that the economics were great. The going in cost basis was like, what were we, sub $80,000 per door with rents that were like nearing $1,000 per unit? That to us, that kind of, 1% rule made a lot of sense for us on that deal.
I think it's like sub 70, so like crazy cost basis. I think
great cost basis.
I think another addition to that was we did have prior relationships with the partnership group, which helped. So there was a little bit added benefit of, obviously we did our own due diligence on the deal, but we had some relationships stepping in, which helped a little bit for us to start into the deal.
Totally. So we were invited into this deal. On paper, it looked good. I think the one little mistake that we made was looking at the vintage of the property. Anytime you have a property that's older than, let's just put a mark in it, 1985. If you're older than 1985, you need to deal with the things. There could be potential landmines within this property where you have to invest money where you're not necessarily getting money back. And that would include parking lots, anything having to do with the infrastructure, which would be mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Those elements, if they are post-1985, you're going to have older elements. We want PVC piping, we want copper wiring, and we want roofs that were redone within the past 15 years. So properties older than 85 tend to have everything that we don't want. And in this deal, that was the case. I just don't think we did good enough. Not us. I just don't think the operator on this deal, no shade, we're not going to throw any names. That's not how we do it in this business. But I don't think the operator did enough due diligence. I think they saw cost basis and they got excited. They saw market and they saw cost basis. They got excited, and that's what happens. And you know what happened with this deal? We lost. We freaking lost. But what does that mean? How bad did we lose? What was our recoup on this? 95 cents on the dollar? 96 cents on the dollar? 94 cents on the dollar?
We just had a call, 2 days ago? And it's right around 95 cents.
So you know what? The beauty of real estate, even when we lose, we don't get crushed. Yeah, we lost on a deal, but we recouped 95 cents on the dollar. For every, $10,000 we put in, we got $9,500 back. Not such a bad deal. If you lose in a stock, let's say you put $1 million in AMC stock, you could lose $1 million. The beauty of real estate is that it's illiquid and it's a real asset. So no matter what happens, as long as you bought okay, you'll always be able to exit okay. So even when we lose, even when we get our butts kicked in a deal, if it's maintained properly, you do not lose that bad. So that's why we love real estate. When you win, you'll win pretty decently well. We try to double our money every 5 years. Not that we could promise that, not that we get that every time. Sometimes you double in 3 years. Sometimes you double in 7 years. Sometimes you don't double at all. Like with a deal like this, we lost. But you know what? We didn't lose everything.
Turning L's into W's, I think looking on a deal performance basis, looking at our downsides and underwriting different scenarios is certainly, this deal helps with doing that. Sensitivity analysis, those types of things, to actually stress test deals. It's pretty important, and I think a lot of underwriting can be great on paper, and then there's real life operations. You need to put real life assumptions into this underwriting on a deal like this. I think where maybe there was some gaps was some operational costs, like the vintage you mentioned, that kind of weren't there. Maybe those would have been found in a different due diligence process, who knows? And then, we spoke on it earlier, this was bridge debt and there was, cap bought, but I think maybe the stress testing on the debt service was not quite where it needed to be. Granted, this was a tough period where, we mentioned earlier, this huge hike in interest rates, one that hopefully we don't see for another while coming, but just underwriting to that cap that you're going to buy is probably the most prudent thing to do for sure. So yeah,
took an L, but it was a lowercase L. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's
took a lowercase L on this
deal.
That's
a good way to put it.
Yeah, even in real estate, when things go bad, they don't go terribly bad as long as you're prudent, conservative, and you perform your underwriting correctly. So thank goodness we tend to operate within that field. So when we lose, it's not too bad.